Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're taking the FGX out and we're going to do a review on it. Without further ado, let's get it. Here it is, 2016 FGX XR6 Turbo. We all know what they look like. We all know what is under the bonnet. But how do they actually drive from somebody that actually drives it every day? To start off, I'll say that I'm not going to be reviewing my car, but I'm going to be reviewing this car. Now what I mean by that is, my car isn't a standard XR6 Turbo. I've done a few modifications to it to make it better than factory, but I did own the car stock, so I know what it was like to drive as a stock XR6 Turbo. So I suppose to start off, we'll go and have a look under the bonnet. Righto, so under the bonnet, we know what it is. It's an XR6 Turbo. We know that they're a 4-litre inline 6, obviously turbocharged, and you know, from factory make decent power. Claimed at the engine 270 kilowatts and 500 and something newton meters of torque. So it's quite a decent amount of power to be pumping out of. Oh well, it's not a small motor, but it's not massive either, and it's pumping out pretty decent power. So we all know that they're extremely reliable, and you know, they go for years. They really just do go for years, which is why, you know, taxi companies have been using Falcons for years, especially, you know, the gas motors, just even the petrol ones. Some have been seen to go for over 1 million kilometers, obviously with proper maintenance, and you know, using quality parts, oils, lubricants, all that sort of thing, you can get big kilometers out of them. Now, I bought my car when it had 98,000. It's now got 100,000 or 100,000 something. So I haven't done a heap amount of Ks in it, but it is, you know, starting to get up there now. This was an ex-police car, like most XR6 Turbos in the FGX. A lot of them are ex-highway patrol, ex-police cars, all that sort of thing. Unfortunately, I missed out on the Brembo brakes, so I had the standard ones on there, which I will get to later on. But yes, this was an ex-police car, which is why the kilometers are so high. Now back to the motor. As I was saying, it is reliable, good motor, and from the factory, you know, it's pretty punchy. For around town, it's great. Plenty of power to overtake, you know, move through traffic, no dramas at all. It does a really great job as doing that sort of thing, which a lot of people just buy them because they are quite efficient and they've got good power, and they just drive them around everyday sort of car. But for us car enthusiasts, it's not all about that. So, rather good for just driving around town, nice and quiet with a stock exhaust. You don't really hear it until you really open it up, and even then it's still rather quiet too. So, the fuel economy is, it's nothing ridiculous. I think Ford claims it gets 11 point something or other, or maybe even really high 10s. I'm not sure, I can't really recall, but I'm sure if you did a lot of highway driving, that sort of thing, you'd easily get into the 10s. I do a lot of just town driving, to and from work, driving around town, that sort of thing, and it gets, you know, a bit of a spirited drive every now and again, and I'm currently sitting on 12 litres to the 100 Ks. So it's nothing terrible. 64, 68 litre tank, something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head. something like that. So, you know, you do get a decent amount of kilometers from a tank. I think roughly 500, 450, 500, something like that. Now, as you can see, as I was saying before, my car obviously isn't just a standard XR6 Turbo with a lot of little modifications, just really basic engine mods at the moment, but nothing crazy just yet, but in the future for sure. Righto, so we'll now move on to the side of the car. Now, for the keen viewers out there, everyone will be able to tell that these are standard XR6 wheels. These are not XR6 Turbo wheels. Now, for whatever reason, the dealership, previous owner possibly, they've taken the XR6 Turbo wheels and put standard XR6 wheels on them. Now, the difference being, apart from the styling, is the diameter. So these are an 18-inch and the XR6 Turbo wheels are a 19-inch. Obviously, as you can see behind the wheels, I have upgraded the brakes front and rear. This isn't a review about the brakes, this is about the car. So the stock brakes that were actually on the car were pretty decent. The rears were just a solid rotor with a single piston caliper at the rear, and it was just genuine Ford rotor, genuine Ford pads, and it was exactly the same at the front, although the fronts are obviously a lot bigger. As you can see, them rotors are a lot bigger, but the rotors at the front obviously a lot bigger. They're ventilated and it's got a twin piston caliper at the front, and stopping was fine. For in traffic, it pulled up really nicely. You're always confident that when you put your foot on the brakes, you were going to stop the car, and that's what sort of inspiring confidence you want in your brakes. So yeah, in traffic, fantastic, absolutely great for that, no problems at all. When you started getting into spirited driving, doing a few pulls on the freeway or whatever, and you were really stomping on the brakes, they started to get hot and you started to get brake fade, and that's when the brakes, you could really tell, were not made for that sort of thing. But again, the car wasn't designed to be raced on a racetrack. It's not a race car. It's a family car. You know, it's meant to be comfortable, ergonomic, have decent efficiency, and, you know, be a car that you can just jump in, go for a drive, go to the shops, you know, whatever, you know, normal day-to-day things. Like I said, it's not a race car. So next we're going to go on to suspension. Now, currently, by looking at the height of my car, you can tell I do not have stock suspension in the rear. I have upgraded the rear suspension to a coilover. They're 10 coilovers, and they're fantastic. But again, this isn't a review about the 10 coilovers, this is a review about the car. So when I bought the car, stock suspension, stock everything, as I mentioned before. So the ride height, as you can see at the front, there's plenty of space in that guard to fit a bigger wheel, bigger tyre, and you can slam it a bit more, do whatever you like, all that sort of fun stuff. The ride height is great. As you can see on the front bar, it does have a bit of scratching on it. The previous owner was obviously a bit rough, but the ride height is fine. It goes over speed humps. You know, you don't have to worry so much about when you're coming into a park and you're like, oh shit, am I going to hit the front bar on the gutter? You know, them sort of things. Of course, you got to be mindful of it, because if you're not careful, it will, on some really high gutters, it will still scrape. And of course, you know, angles are your friend, and you just go slow and be gentle and careful. But the ride height's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The suspension is, well, it's soft, but not to a point where, you know, it's ridiculously soft. There is still a bit of firmness in there, and the car still does have a bit of stiffness, although coming into corners you can feel the body roll a little bit, especially if you're hitting it at a bit of pace. So the suspension, again, it's not designed to be a V8 supercar, because if it was a V8 supercar I wouldn't own one, because they're hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce and make one of them. This is a production car, and it's not designed, well, it wasn't primarily designed for, you know, car people that can be just like, I want stiff suspension because it gives me good performance and I can put up with having a shit ride. It's for people that, you know, want to just cruise around, have a nice comfortable ride, and for families who don't want to be smashing their heads into the roof and they're hitting bumps because their car's so stiff. So the suspension is on the softer side, but it was a good ride. It was comfortable, and that's what it was made to do. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the styling of the car. Now, with the FGX, I think it's one of them things that you're either going to really love or you're just going to really hate it. For me, the FGX was never a car I thought I would own. I thought, wow, Ford, what were you thinking when you drew that up? I mean, what a horrid looking car, I thought. And now look what's in front of me. I have one. I thought the front bar looked really gross. I thought, yeah, it looks like a Mustang. It looks, you know, a bit European looking, crossed with a bit of Mustang. And I didn't really like the look of the new Mustangs. And I still don't. I think they look shit. But then, you know, I had my old 2009 FG XR6 Ute, which some people will know. And, you know, I thought, yep, I really love the styling. I love the front bar. It looks really aggressive on the FG. I even didn't like the Mark IIs, to be honest. The front bar on that, I thought, yeah, they're going a bit European. But the front bar on this has really grown on me. I really like the look of it, and seeing it in a rear vision mirror, you can really tell that Ford did put some thinking into the design of it. It looks fantastic. The aggression that the front bar gives is really second to none, and I really enjoy it. I really do. The car has got some really nice sleek lines. I really like how it looks. Disregard my scuffed up side skirts from the previous owner. Goodness knows what they were doing forward driving with it by the looks. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but the doors have a nice indentation in them and it makes them look really nice. Again, with them nice, really sleek sort of lines that that gives in the car, and it sort of just breaks up the car as well. Instead of being a really just flat door, I suppose, but moving into something that's a bit more, you know, a bit more aggressive, like I was saying. The front bar has this really nice, I don't even know what you call that, that design of the grille there. I'm really lost for words for what that is, but regardless, it looks fantastic. And of course, these headlights with the daytime running lights in them, and obviously the projector headlights, they're absolutely fantastic. They have a really mean, menacing look on the road, and it's something that when you see one on the road, you're just like, yeah, I know what that is. It really stands out, and it's really, really, really nice. Obviously, fog lights, they've got a bit of a sleek design to them as well. A lot smaller over the previous series. I also had a B series Falcon, another XR6, and fog lights on that were massive. And then you go to the FG, smaller, and then on the FGX, smaller again. And a lot of people probably don't realise, but in the headlights, there's a little XR logo sitting in there. If the camera can pick that up, I'm not sure. But yeah, sort of like a bit of an Easter egg sort of hidden thing in the lights there. And if you don't know or don't get up close to one ever, you'd never know about it. So yeah, pretty cool. Righto, so before we hop into the car, I'm just going to go over a few things that I dislike about the car. A lot of people don't like the mirrors because they're a different colour. Ford ran out of money, they just painted them black. Well, not necessarily the case. Some Falcons, I don't know if it's the G series or if it is the XR series as well, but the mirrors were also color coded to the car. But in my opinion, I reckon it's great having that really nice like gunmetal grey with the metal fleck in there. It really helps to break up the car and make the car stand out against other Falcons that have previously been. It's something different, something a bit unusual, and something that you don't necessarily see on everyday cars. So I think it's great. So first thing I don't really like, fit and finish of the car. As you can tell, the fit of the body panels are really tight, and as a result has chipped the paint off the front bar. It's just over time of just bouncing and rubbing, and probably the front bar getting taken off a few times as well. I know I've done it a couple of times, so that doesn't help. And also on the lights here, it's a bit of a gap between the lights and the front bar. I'd prefer it if it sat in a little bit closer. I'm not sure if it's just my car or if they're all like that, but I'm just saying for my car I'd prefer it to be a little bit tighter there, and a little bit looser here, so it's not making that sort of a mess. Also, all the panel work is, all the metal in the car is really, really weak. You probably won't be able to pick it up on the camera, but right there on my bonnet I have a nice dent. I tried to gently close the bonnet without touching it and leaving finger marks on the bonnet, so I used my elbow and really gently just pushed my elbow into it and created a dent in the bonnet. So I wasn't overly impressed with that. And of course, typical Falcon sort of things, all these black piano plastic bloody covers on the doors, and especially the roof sill plastic, it all fades and gets all this white shit on it eventually, breaks down and what have you, which I'm really not a fan about. And I thought, after many years of development of the XR series, or even Falcon series for that matter, that they'd be able to design a more Australia friendly plastic that can stand a bit more abuse than what that does. Moving around the back of the car, not many gripes on the back apart from this chrome trim. As you can see, it gets really pitted and scratched really easily, and that's a bit disappointing. Alright, so inside the car, typical Falcon, you would think that you're in any other car, any other Falcon really. Not a lot is different in the FGX. Not a lot is different. You still have these door handles that are susceptible to just breaking when you pull on them. I do like the door cards. They're nice. I like this little bit of leather and just this fabric. Although the top of the door here, where you rest your arm, I mean, they probably could have upgraded that to maybe a different material because it's like exactly the same as anything else. I really enjoy the black roof lining and all the other black accents on the plastic on the sun visors and the handles, and the seat belt retainers and that sort of thing. It does look really nice, and it does set the car apart again from typical Falcons with that beigey whatever colour that is that is in every other Falcon. You know, typical gripe, it's the same ICC as, you know, back in 2008. Yeah, it is. It would be nice to see an upgrade here. It's really nice to see this, the Sync 2 system. This is really nice. I like it. A lot of people hate it and think, oh, it's old, it needs a refresh, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I will agree that the maps on it do need an update, but, I mean, who uses their car, sat-nav? You know, just about everyone has a phone these days. It's got Bluetooth audio. You connect your phone up, and then, you know, you put in where you want to go, and off you go. I suppose the other side to that is, yeah, your car's got sat-nav. You should be able to, you know, use it. You shouldn't have to use your phone. And, you know, it's nice to see where you're meant to be going instead of just guessing off some lady's voice, because it could be quite confusing. Another thing they mentioned was that the seats are uncomfortable. Well, the seats aren't uncomfortable. They're nice. The bolstering on the side hugs you into the seat. And I suppose they weren't really doing on-street testing. They were on the track. They were pushing the car hard, and they were having body roll, and they were probably moving about in the seat, which, I mean, yeah, fair enough. That's what happens with body roll. You move about a bit, but again, like I was saying previously, the car isn't made for being on the track. It's not a race car. It's made to be, you know, cruising along the freeway, going for a nice cruise through the mountains, or, you know, just simply picking up the kids from school. And it's a production car. You know, it's meant to be comfortable, which it is. There's plenty of room. Obviously, adjust the seat to what is comfortable for you. The passenger at the front, plenty of leg room, and the seat's really comfortable for them long drives. I've been in this car for hours, and I haven't had a sore back or wanted to pull over or felt tired. It's nice. It's a good seating position, and if you set your chair up properly, then you'll have no dramas. Again, this is a 6-speed, of course. Good transmission for just a stock application, obviously pushing more power through it. You can go down the upgrade path or just get the gearbox tuned as well, which will increase longevity by a lot. Of course, dreaded cup hole. Not a cup holder, it's just a cup hole. You put a cup in there and hope it doesn't fall over. One thing they probably should have fixed. Alright, in the back of the car now. And as we all know with Falcons, massive amount of room in the back. The seats are quite comfortable. Plenty of room to stretch out and, you know, enjoy a long road trip. Again, same door cards at the back of the car. With them epoxy door handles, but yeah, plenty of room. You know, it's an enjoyable place to be. Obviously, you know, air conditioning at the back. Probably don't need that on. And yeah, it's just an overall nice place to be. Plenty of vision out of the car if you want to look out. But it's nice. It's a relaxing place. You know, in some cars, you know, the seats aren't far enough back and you feel like you're sitting up really tall. But in this, they're reclined enough so you're not like sleeping in bed. But if you wanted to go to sleep, you easily could. It's fantastic. Again, plenty of room behind if you wanted to put, you know, maybe a bag or something like that. And yeah, plenty of leg room. I'm not the tallest dude in the world, but I'm definitely no short ass either. And I have plenty of room, and of course, plenty of headroom as well. So for taller people, not so much of an issue. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up my review of the 2016 FGX XR6 Turbo. We have covered a lot today. And I was trying to make it a non-bias and I suppose just as fair review as I possibly could. Should you buy one in 2020? It's a 4-year-old car. Is it really worth it? And yeah, it really is. It really is worth it. 100%. They are a collector's car, and they're only just going to go up in value now. Especially if you get one in a more rare color like mine, which is the Aero Blue. Yeah, absolutely go for it. They're getting harder to find with a low K example. They're all mainly high Ks, as I said before. The cars are, they were primarily used by the police as high patrol because they're a quick car. So yeah, if you can find one that is a good example, absolutely go for it. Why not? They're a really great car, and if you're an enthusiast and you want to spend the money and you want to do the car up and make it yours, then 100%. It's a really great platform to upgrade, and there's a big upgrade path of what you can do with them. And Ford did a lot of engineering with making these cars over the FG, and a lot of people don't know that. Just with the chassis, how they made the chassis, what the chassis is made out of, suspension, dampening, all the suspension components, all that sort of stuff. It all had a really major overhaul, and a lot of people don't know that. And they sort of just fob the car off as, it's just it's just an FG under all the exterior, but it's not. It's a completely different car. It's slightly lighter than the previous generations, not by much, but it is. They're still a big car, but they did lighten it a bit, and I think it really does show. Now, of course, they did run out of money coming to the end of building these, and which was unfortunate because they could have been a much better thing over what they already are. So of course Ford had to cut corners to cut costs, but to still produce a car that was decent enough. And I think they have done it, although there is some spots where it could definitely be improved, and if there was more funding and Ford was still around, I dare say they would improve on that. But for an end of era car, I don't think the turbo is where it's at. The XR8 would be the proper end of era car, but for an update and refresh over the FGX XR6 Turbo, the FGX XR6 Turbo is definitely an awesome upgrade. And if you're in the market for buying an FG Turbo, if your budget can allow, I would stretch a bit further and get yourself a piece of history, because as I said before, they're only going to go up in price. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed making it because I enjoy driving my car. If you want to see more sort of stuff like this, more in-depth videos into the parts of the car and the upgrades that I've done, feel free to send me a message, put it in the comments. So anyway guys, that's the end of today's video. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you at the next video.